Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. And I'm really thrilled today. I've got a guest. Her name is Gabriella Martinelli. She is a certified divorce financial analyst, CDFA for short, and founder of Ever After Wealth. With 21 years of experience in divorce finance, including 16 working alongside top attorneys, Gabriella helps individuals and professionals navigate the financial complexities of divorce with clarity and confidence. She makes complex financial topics easy to understand, offering real world strategies that empower listeners to take control of their financial future. And I'm so thrilled to have you here today, Gabriella. So thanks for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Debbie. I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, let's be honest, divorce is a big topic, especially for women in midlife. And I've been through it myself. And I know a lot of people who have. So this is very relevant, whether you are going through divorce, whether you're thinking of going through divorce. These are and if you're in the thinking stage, this is where this is going to be really handy for you because I think Gabriella is somebody that you probably need to talk to before you go forward. So we're going to get into that. So let's start with just jumping in. What are the common financial mistakes that we do make in divorce? What are we doing wrong when we go through divorce as women especially?
So there's a couple of things. One of them is not working with the right professionals. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. I think is one of the most costly mistakes that women do because the help is there. I have all these conversations all the time. Oh, I wish I knew you a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I wish my sister could have talked to you a year ago when she was going through this process. There's a lot of that, but I think the biggest issue is not so much that we're not there. There's not a lot of people like me, CDFAs that just do true CDFA work out in the world. Is really that I don't think women really look for some of those answers, and we like to either do it all ourselves because yes, we're smart and we think that we can handle that, or we listen to other individuals giving us advice and we think that that's correct. And one of the biggest ones is believing that the person that you are divorcing is being fair and is being honest. And I'm not saying they're not. There's a lot of occasions where I work with individuals. The individuals are trying to be as honest as they can. They think they're being fair, but that doesn't make it true just because someone feel they're doing the best for you or for somebody else. And when we have that trust, and sometimes I tell my clients, I say, well, no, he wants to do the right thing by me. And sometimes I'm like, you mean the husband that cheated on you for the last 5 years? You
Um,
mean the person that is being with you for the last 15, 20 years and now suddenly needs to leave you, or the person that is hurt because you left them? Like, you had to be very conscious about who are you trusting to be honest and fair. And I work with women and men, and sometimes I do get the husbands are they're trying to do the best they can. They say to me, "I want to be fair. I don't know what that looks like," and that is the danger: is trusting that whatever is presented to you is fair or is the truth without just asking the questions and believing, because of course it's easier, right? It's easier to believe that that person that we love, that we share a life with, we had kids and we had dreams together, even though it's not working anymore, which is okay, but we want to believe that that person is still going to be there for us. And I think that is a problem. And especially when I work with women that don't really understand their finances because they were never involved. So you're already trusting during this process with your marriage, which is totally okay, right? You have different roles. You trusted your husband. That's okay. It's okay to trust your husband, but then now he's not your husband anymore, or he's not going to be soon. So you really need to start to get a hold of the finances. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to trust everything, and it's okay to ask questions. A lot of women don't want to rock the boat. They're like, I don't want to ask that because he's going to get upset. Well, if he's getting upset, that means he's not really doing what he says he's doing to be fair, or to share everything, or being open and things of that nature. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, not really asking the questions and working with the right professionals and trusting the wrong individuals, if you will, during the process.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can see that. I mean, you do wanna be trusting of the person even though you're divorcing. As women,
Yes.
I think we wanna believe then that they're good, that they'll do the right thing,
Yes.
right? And it's
Yeah.
not always the case. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. So
100%.
given that, given these mistakes we're making, what are the maybe top 3, 4 financial pieces of financial advice that you could give us that even if we're not in the process of divorce, even if we're contemplating it, maybe we're not, but what are 3 things that women should know, before they even get into this process?
I think women should know about their finances. I think that
Mm,
when you're going through the process or when you're going through the divorce, kind of a little too late. It's still time, right? I can help. I help my clients every day to understand finances, to know what's out there, the different assets that they may own together. But we need to know that ahead of time. I have this particular program that I'm going to be launching that is like, is your marriage divorce proof financially? Because I think you had to be prepared because it is important. And even not because of a divorce, I talk to estate planning attorneys all the time or financial advisors. If you don't know where you stand financially and what at some point you end up being you having to make decisions or having to just move on with your life and you don't know what is out there, you don't understand finances, you don't understand what kind of assets you have, what kind of debt you have, you cannot make those decisions. And as a partner in that relationship, you're the wife, it is okay for you to ask the questions. There's very sad stories where women get cut off from their bank accounts. They don't really know what the spouse makes. They don't know what they have savings as far as retirement. And those are questions that you should be asking. You should have self responsibility to know, okay, I am not distrusting you as my partner in life, but I want to know what's out there. How much money do you make? Why can we or cannot buy this particular item I want to buy? Why do we have to live in this neighborhood? What are we going to do with our future? Are the kids going to be able to go to college? I think it's very important that we take responsibility for that finances, whether you own a business, work in the home and not work outside the home, or you even have a job. The majority of women, because we trust our partners and we have different roles, which is totally okay to do. But you also need to be aware of what's out there. Because one of the biggest thing is, especially for stay-at-home moms, and then you have women over 55 that they're trying to go through this divorce and they don't have retirement on their name, under their
mm,
name. And my thought is always, okay, his retirement potentially, right? And you will have some retirement that comes through him. But what if you have a retirement account before then? Why don't you have that conversation? And your spouse should be able to understand that it's okay for him to have a retirement account where there's making contributions constantly, and maybe even the employer make contributions. But you should also have your account, an account that you can manage. We as women, and I the investment side of things anymore, but we invest very differently, right? So having that autonomy of say, okay, I have my savings, I have my retirement account, I know where I stand, and I am not finding myself one day in this on the top of this cliff that I'm going to fall and I have no idea what is out there, what do I have, can I even make those decisions? Debbie, I talk to women all the time that they tell me they don't even think about separating because they're afraid of the money and they don't know what they have or they don't have, and they don't think they were gonna be gonna able to make it. And a lot of the times I work with these women just to for them to understand what they have. They do a little bit of detective work because a lot of them don't have access to accounts, and that is a red flag for me. In any marriage or any type of relationship, if you have a partnership like a marriage and you don't have access to
mhm.
those accounts, that is there's a reason why. That is giving control to the other person. You cannot make your own decisions because financially you are tied to this person. Important for women to take accountability of the fact that this is your life too. And even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you have a right to see what's out there. What are your finances looking like on debt? You have no idea how many women come to me and they have no idea there was so much credit card debt because they have no access. They will spend their money because they were given some money or a credit card to spend, but they don't know what they don't know because they don't want to ask the questions because it's scary. And I do feel, and this was probably, I grew up because, my grandma always told me, you never depend on a man for finances and you always need to know what the money is. And that is something that is engraved in my brain. So that makes it maybe a little easier for me to say the things. And I know it's hard, but we should take that power back, especially when it comes to the finances and have a plan. I don't think we're weak. I'm not saying this because you're weak. I have clients that come to me and say, oh my God, why let this happen? And I let you trusted your spouse. The problem is that we think that trusting is not asking questions. So I trust what you're saying. Just let me see it because that gives me peace of mind. And if you are in that relationship with the same ideas and the same goals and someone that wants to make this work with you, they will not have a problem sharing that information with you. And I think that's the red flag, right? Like, okay,
Yes.
why that is not causing more women to ask the questions. What do you mean? Like the questions that popped up sometimes, the social media is big for questions. And a lady asked, we file taxes together. He makes significant more money than me. I still have a job. We're getting this reimbursement from the IRS. How should we split it? Should we do a percentage of our income? And I thought, why? Because you are in this together, right? You file your taxes together, which probably benefited the person that makes more money, right? That's why they want you and the kids in their tax return. And then we're having, so I don't know their dynamics. I'm not criticizing their relationship. I just think it's like, do you understand what you're asking? And do you understand how that could not be the ideal thing for you? And I think that's part of that. It's just the educational portion of it. Like you're able to make your own decisions, but do you have all the information, or you're just making these decisions because you're afraid to ask the question and get the information because you make different decisions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, and I resonated with a lot of what you were saying. Um, I love that it was your grandmother that told you not to to
Yes,
trust
I
in a
know.
man to, do that. I just love that it came from your grandmother, but what amazing heritage that is. Because I
Yes.
think
Yes.
most women are afraid of the money, and there's a common thought when I coach women is I am not good with money. A lot of women come to me with that thought, I am not good with money. And it's not that they're not good with money. It's that somebody told them what in their life that you're not good with money and then they took it in and adopted it. And that's really unfortunate because then they go through their lives like this and then they're in this situation where they feel like they should ask the question. Like you said, if I trust him, why would I ask him the question? Then it's going to look like I don't trust him. And we go through this whole thing in our brains, right? And
Yeah.
it's fascinating. Um, I mean, since I am separated and well, I never was actually married, so I went through a separation. Um,
Okay.
since then, I've done all the finances myself, and it is very empowering that even though I have a partner now, I handle all of it and I love it because I know where everything
Yes.
is. I also understand not wanting to see it because it's scary. And I have
Yes.
a business too, and sometimes I don't necessarily want to look at the money. So I understand that side of it too. But there's so many good things here. And so much of it is about mindset, like what we
Yes.
believe about
Yes.
ourselves with money, what we believe about the relationship with money. So when you're talking to women, what are some of the things they're believing and or should be believing about themselves so that they can get through this?
So they need to believe that first of all, they need to believe they have the right to have information. I think that we feel like he's the one working. When we're talking about, so that's the thing. There's two different types, if you will, that women that I work with. You have the stay-at-home mom that believes that they are smarter. The husband is smarter than them. They don't know the money. They were meant to believe that they can make it without them because they will never be able to make anything in life, right? And not even about finances, right? I was married to, and I was in an abusive relationship, not physical, but you are to believe that you can make decisions. You're not capable to make any type of decision. So obviously money is a big deal, right? And asking those questions from someone that makes you believe like you don't need to know, that type of thing. And you get stuck into these relationships because of that fear. So you have to believe, first of all, that if you have the information, you will be able to make good decisions. If women have the right information and education, they are capable of making really good decisions, financial and otherwise. We can. You're capable. You're smart. Just because someone tell you that they are better in that sense, or because they work outside the house, that is not. That's the first belief. The other belief is that you deserve to have the help. A lot of the times I talk to women. I actually have a couple that I talked, it was like a month ago. It was two different women, two different circumstances, two different places in the United States. They've been in this super smart women. They had a big career before they got married. When they got married, they decided to stay home. They raised the kids. The husband went out one of them opened businesses. The other one went up in the corporate ladder. And okay. And they are like, I'm so smart. I need someone to put it together for me. I said, I can work with you on that. We're going to set up the numbers. I'm going to help you to look for the things you have to look for. And we're going to look into what is the best settlement for you as you move forward, right? Because you want to be in a place where you can actually move forward and thrive, right? Mm. And then it comes to, oh no, but that is costing me a lot of money. Yes, that costs you money because you need it. It's an investment that you deserve. And believing that we deserve that is another story. Like working with a coach, working with someone like me, you deserve it. And I don't know, I know we had conversation before. I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you, but I have the flip side of my male clients. Not ever one of my male clients question my fees or question the fact that they deserve to hire me so I can help them. They believe they deserve it, they need the help, and they go get it. Women, we try to always think about the family, or if I spend this money and it's on me and I don't deserve it and I can do it on my own. No, you deserve it. You deserve to have the opportunity to investigate, find the information so you can make better decisions for yourself. You deserve it. On the other end, I have a lot of my women that I work with have out on the other side. We know it all. We're supposed to know it all. We're running a business. I should be able to do this because, it's just numbers. It's not just numbers. It's numbers while going through one of the most overwhelming processes that you're going to be in your life. Divorce is overwhelming. It is scary. It is emotional. You can avoid those things. Even if you're the one wanting this divorce. I work with a client. She was the one that wanted that separation. She was a very successful business owner. She took a long time to come to me and work with me. After we worked together, she always tells me, I wish I had hired you 6 months earlier, but I thought I could do it. And then we have this battle with ourselves, right? Oh, I should be able to do this. Like I'm running this business. But you don't know what you're looking for. And you're very emotional, even though she wanted that separation, right? You can't avoid your friends and your kids, and all of that comes within this process. So it is okay to invest in yourself and find the help that you need. It's okay to need the help. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you non-smart. Actually, it makes you smarter. Because having the knowledge is going to give you the power to make better decisions. And if you ask me, that is the greatest investment out there.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if you have the information, if you have the understanding, you make better decisions, which is going to turn out to help you thrive in whatever it is that is coming next. So allowing yourself to need to work with someone or to make an investment of yourself, I think that is the biggest belief for women. We deserve it, and you should believe it,
Yes.
uh, that you
I
deserve it.
I
And I
love
forgot what the question was.
Yeah, no, it's a mindset, and that's it. It's the I
Yeah.
deserve it. I am worth it. I am worth it, right? Or I am
Yes.
worthy. These are such
Yes.
important things because they come up all the time for my clients in coaching and
Sure.
believing so many women believe I have to put everybody else first, especially my kids have to come first. If I have any money,
Yes.
it goes to them. So I just find it fascinating that you work with both women. See, I work with women. I hear these things all the time. I don't work with men, but you work with women and men, and the message is so different. It's like it's
Very
not.
much.
They don't have to think about it. They're like, I need the help. I'm going to pay for it. That's it. A woman is going to think, oh, I shouldn't be spending this money on myself. I should be, spending it on my kids. It's so common, and I hear it all the time in my practice too. So I totally understand that. And that is something we have to get over. We have to,
Yes.
especially in a situation of divorce where
Yes.
emotions are high, we need to understand we need help, first of all. I think that's really important. We do need help from somebody like you who can help us with the financial part, because that is the biggest part, I think, when we're divorcing. It's going to be the
Yeah.
finances and to understand what the implications are and how we can make this work, and just understanding that you need to have this worthiness within you. You need to know you're worth it, and you've got to build yourself up, but that can be very hard. Like you mentioned, you were in an
Oh,
abusive
yeah.
relationship, so you might not have that confidence yet either. So it's about building that up too, right? And I think, I don't know, but I see it going hand in hand. When I took over my finances, my confidence grew. So I do think there's a definite link between knowing your money
Yeah.
situation and having the confidence in yourself, right?
It is because the problem we're seeing is the money. We need money, right? We need money. Like you need the money to, but it gives you a little bit of a more of a like a personal security. A lot of these women are not making the right decisions when they're going through this process because they're afraid of not having the money. Or let's pretend that he's giving them such a little bit of money. And they're like, I don't want to ask the questions because he's not going to give me any money. And then I can ask the questions. So you end up maybe signing something or accepting something that is much less than you deserve or that you will get, right? Like you don't really know until you start looking at things, right? And they prefer not to think because if you ask a question, you rock the boat. He gets upset, cuts off my credit cards. And my point is like, if he does that, there is process to follow. There's ways that we can, because whatever you have a right to, you have a right to. It might take you a little longer to get there, but if you don't fight, you will never get what you really deserve, and your life could be 10 times better, right?
Yeah.
When you're not thinking of that. And the power of making decisions, I have worked with women that come to me when there's no even separation in the horizon, but they don't understand the finances and they're afraid. And they think, I don't think I want to be in this relationship, but I cannot leave. I'm not going to have money. I'm like, okay, let's work together. And I have worked with women for like 3 months. We look at all the numbers, look at the information. A lot of them work and they have businesses, and they will look at the numbers, what it would look like. And I had several that look at me and they're like, oh, so I could leave and I'll be okay. And I'm like, 100%. Okay, well, I am going to try. Maybe we can go to therapy. I'm going to try 6 more months and then I can make the decision. But that is a powerful decision. You're not stuck in a place because you're afraid of the financial circumstances that you're going to be in. You know where you are and where you could be, and you're making a decision to work through something. That gives you so much power and confidence that you can get without having all the information.
Yes. Yes. That is
So
so,
when those
so
women come
good.
to me and like, let's do it right. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just about believing in yourself that you deserve the help and believing that you need the help, and that doesn't make you weak or non-smart. Right.
Yes.
And
And
again,
actually, I
it's
think
just gives you power.
you be you become smarter by actually being willing to look at this because it isn't something we all know how to do. And I love the
Right.
idea of going to see somebody like you even before we're even thinking about this, just so we have that security like, oh, I'm going to be okay. Like, it's okay. I know where everything is. It's so empowering, also. You know where everything is, you know what you have,
Yes.
and you know you're okay. And then from that place, you're not living in fear. You're not staying there
Right.
because of the fear. You're staying there because you actually want to be there, which is why we want to
Right.
be in a relationship. We don't want to stay there just because we're afraid we're not going to have any money.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
That
it's a
defeats the purpose
horrible,
of the
horrible thing.
relationship. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
A hundred
exactly.
percent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you
Yeah.
have a success story that you could share of a woman that you worked with who, yeah, uh, who
I
made it
have
at
a
the end?
few.
Who,
I
yeah,
have
okay.
a
Well, if you've
few.
got a good one,
So
I'd love to hear it.
there's a couple. So I think one will be the one that I mentioned, the business owner that was very defeated. She challenged herself not to hire me for a long time, and then she finally worked with me, and she was able to let me do my work, which is very different running her business. And it was very interesting. We worked very quickly because she was going to a mediation, and she was able to actually get everything she wanted to get. Like, we were together. My bigger thing is like, what is that you want out of this? It's not just about what they say. They say they want, they may want to, what is that you want? And let's see if that what you want works for you financially going forward. Right. And it aligns with your life. So with her, it really happens. It doesn't happen all of the time, but we try to be very strategic. And that's probably what I do. I'm a strategic as to how we present things, because we need to know what the end goal is in mind, right? And I remember sitting up a mediation with her, and her thing was the business. Her business was her baby. And we knew he was going to try to attack her business and try to get part of the business, which again is part of the marital stay, but you don't get the business. You just get paid off somewhere else. And I remember sitting down and we write it down. This is what I do every time I go to mediation, and said, okay, let's go back to the list of what you would like to accomplish. So we wrote it all down. I put that piece of paper apart. We go through the motions of mediation. We reach a point to the mediation that when the mediator came back, he said, oh, well, he wants X amount of money because he wants part of the business. And it wasn't so much about the money, it was the way that it was phrased. He wanted her business, and she lost it. And I understood, but it was the war, right? So it was,
Yeah.
I had to bring her back. We had to take a break, and I had to kind of explain to her, what are we, this is not a competition about the words that we use. This is about trying to get what you want and deserve here. If we let him use that word, but at the end of the day, the division in our spreadsheet looks the way you want it to look. Does it really matter the word he's using? He wants to hurt you. Is it worth it? Because if you fight the word, you may not get what exactly you're getting, which is what you really want at the end of the day, was showing in the list of things that you wanted to obtain out of the marriage, right? Which one of them was your business. He just wants to say that he's getting part of the business. He's getting money from somewhere in the marital state. It's just the word that he's using. So it took us a minute to get her, she understood, but the emotion, that's what I'm saying, like the emotion clashed with
Yes.
what she wanted. And it took us a moment, but at the same time, I kept thinking, if I wouldn't have been in that room, what could have been the result? Because she may not have understood what that word financially. The wording that you use, it doesn't matter. It's what it reflects on your paper. What exactly is that you're getting? What is the asset? Is that the house that you would like? Is your business yours 100%? And the freedom that comes with having that resolution and moving forward finally after a very long process. So what
Yes.
I do a lot of that. Let's take off the emotion a little bit. Emotions had to be worked through. I am not really a coach, even though I kind of coach them some, but
Mhm.
and it helps when someone they were like someone with you. I feel like we all, I take away the emotion out of this, a very practical decision, which is about numbers that don't lie. Numbers are what they are. And it's just about the words that you're using. So she
Yes.
felt he was winning and he wanted to hurt her. So I'm like, okay, who's really winning here? And who is losing? If we're going to date, nobody wins or loses in this process, but that's part of that. So that was a very successful, because I was able to bring her back from the emotion to be very practical, which she's thriving today, and she's very happy. And then I have another one that was a little different. She this was a lady. She was a little older, and she was a stay-at-home mom. Her whole marriage of 30 some years, she was a stay-at-home mom. And so she didn't have um, income or anything. And everything was worked out except for the home. And I got a call from her attorney when they said, you have got to figure this out. She insists she wants this house. She can't get this house. It's probably a bad idea. I'm like, okay, well, let me work with her. And yeah, it wasn't a bad idea, right? There was this house. It was like 6,500 square foot, big mansion. I don't even know how many bathrooms and rooms were in that home, but it was a big pool in the back and a cabana, and like all. A very, very bad financial decision for her to say, I'm going to give up all of this other cash in a retirement account because I want the house, right? If the house is a big deal for us women, right? Like that's our home, and it signifies more than just the house. So we figured out, I was trying to explain to her from a financial point of view, numbers thing, she would not have it. And so I didn't know what to do. And I told her to invite me to the house. I said, can I come see the house? Because, this house is so beautiful and you're so attached to it. I would really like to see it. And she was thrilled. And yeah, you coming over. And it was interesting. She makes some cookies and we walked through the house. And I don't know how long it took us to go through all of the rooms. It was a beautiful, beautiful home. I don't want to take that from her, but we're talking after a while. And I'm like, okay, I need to get to this, because when someone is so attached to a thing, there is more to it, right? It's not just because it wasn't the money. It's like, oh, this house is very expensive. Yes, a couple $1,000,000, but you know how expensive it is to maintain a home that big? For someone that the kids are gone, she was going to be just by herself. So I started asking questions like, okay, oh, do you have pool parties with your girlfriends? And they come, and I was like, oh no, the pool was for the kids. They don't come along anymore. But like, okay, all different type of questions, different type of rooms. And I finally asked her, I said, why don't you show me your favorite room in this home? Like, because it's a very big home, right? What's your favorite part of this home? Like, it's really your place. And she is all excited, takes me into the kitchen and into the pantry. And I was like, where are we going? Like, it's like, is this a Narnia thing that we're going to go back into some other? Because I was very like, okay, this is the pantry. I'm in the pantry. Well, the pantry was like a big room, right? Because this is a big house. And the last wall in that pantry had all the markings for her kids growing up. And I still tear up. So all of the markings of her kids growing up was in that wall, inside the pantry.
Wow.
And I thought, holy. That's her attachment to see the growing of her kids that were gone. Now, I mean, gone as in out of the house. So I'm like, oh my God, this is like the aha moment for me, right? I'm like, no, and the light turned on, and I'm like, oh my God, how about I get somebody here, we cut this off, and you take it with you. Let's find you a very nice townhome in a very nice neighborhood when you're close to your girlfriends, and you take this with you. And her face light up so much. And she's like, can I do that? And I said, oh, yes, but they're going to know. And they're going to say, he's going to get mad. And I'm like, nobody would ever know that you did this, because the person that is coming is going to make it all look pretty. It's going to be painted the same color, and nobody would ever know that was here. And we did it. And that was it. And she took it and she put it in her living room, in her townhome that she can afford, that is not going to create any financial hurdles for her. Like that house was, because that's what she needed and wanted from the house. So there is always this, again, this is very emotional. And the numbers cannot be attached so much to the emotions, because you will make bad decisions. And if you are not really working with someone that can catch on to those things and help you make those decisions, that would have been devastated for her, because she could potentially have lost the house along with those markings that were so
Yes.
important to her. And that would have been even more devastated than losing the house or being in financial hurdles, because that was what she wanted, right?
Yeah.
And that is what is so important in what I do, because it's like, okay, we bring baggage on top of everything that we don't know, that we don't understand. We bring a lot of baggage to a divorce process. And if you don't have someone to help you separate those things, you make bad financial decisions that affects you the rest of your life. So it's very important to understand the numbers, and then work within yourself to understand what is really there. Because when someone makes a decision, it's usually not about the money. It's about the emotions that are attached to this money, particularly. And in this case was that. In other cases, it's because I want to hurt him or her. He
Mhm.
wants the house. No, I want it. Oh, he's gonna want this car, so I want it. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
times, it's not the emotion and the pain. It's like, oh, the anger, and it's like, I'm gonna show him, and then you end
Yes.
up making bad decisions because you're basing them on those emotions that are not helping you when you need it the most. Because you need, these decisions are important, like they'll really affect your life, the rest of your life.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. And I love the idea, like, you're taking them to a place of, what do you want your life to look like after
Yes.
this? Don't stay
Yes.
in this place and make your decisions from this emotional craziness. You've got to make your decisions from, how do I want to live? What do I want my life to look like 3 years from now, let's say, when this is all over, right? It's
Yes.
not making decisions from where you are right now in the middle of, like, this emotional madness.
Right. Right. And this is, where do you want to see yourself? Okay, great. Now let's see what you need to get in order to make it there. And that's basically
Yes.
what it is. Okay, we have this big viral state we're going to divide. Let's make these decisions based on what you need to get where you want. And that's what it should be all about in an ideal world. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's where you come in, right? You do what a
Yes.
lawyer can't really do, right? They should really see you before they see the lawyer, so they understand where they are financially, so they can
Yes.
make good decisions before they even see the lawyer, so they know where they are, right?
100%, because that the other part with the lawyer is like, and I worked for them for a very long time. I am very into the legal world in my personal life as well, with family law attorneys, divorce attorneys. And I always say this to my clients: okay, you are going to see an attorney for a divorce, right? And so, and unless there's domestic violence or somebody took the children, you need to see an attorney right away. I get it. But if not, if you come to me first and then we look at your finances, I can work with a strategy. And even if we don't have everything we need, right? A lot of the times they may not have access to the documents, which is okay. We're gonna work through it because I know exactly what we need. I can ask questions that will give me information more than you think, things of that nature. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, let's prepare this strategy. So when you go talk to an attorney for the first time and you pay them $400 or more to have a conversation with them, you have information that you can actually ask real questions. They can give you responses that apply to you. If you go to an attorney, if I walk to an attorney's office tomorrow, I know nothing about my numbers. All the attorney can do is tell me what it could be like depending on what they find. There's no information. They are going to tell you what the law says, what it could be or not. And then you just paid a lot of money for someone to tell you what the law is, which is, it has some value, but think about how much more value you can get from somebody if you actually have information to show them, right?
Yes.
So yes, I
Yes.
always feel like if you had the opportunity to come to me first, because I can also guide you. I understand attorneys. It's a long time I work with them. I understand, depending on the circumstances, which attorney could be better or not, depending where you're going to. Some very high conflict cases, which we know from the beginning, I know which attorney could probably be better off working with them. So I can help more of that. All the strategy, because I'm looking for what the attorney is going to be looking for, what is helpful to the attorney to help you and create the best strategy. So in an ideal world, yes, people will come to me first, and also understanding that your attorney is a legal expert. You need an attorney. Yes, I would never suggest anyone go through this whole process. Even after I'm a certified mediator, even if I do mediations, I send them to an attorney because you need to understand the legal side of things, right? But attorneys are not financial experts. And that is another part of women feeling confident enough to know what they need and saying to their attorneys, I want to work with this person. Because JB, happens all the time. I talk to individuals that really need me. I can tell, and they want to work with me, and they ask the right questions, and they're like, okay, so you can help me with this, and so they get very excited. Then they go to the attorney, and the attorney says, "Don't worry, I've done this for 20 years. I can do this. You don't need her." Well, yes, they do, because there is a reason why they talk to me in the first place. Because nobody talks to me just because, right? I am
Mhm.
not an easy phone call. I am not an easy email. Like, this is about finances during your divorce, admitting you don't know what you don't know. That's
Yeah,
hard.
it's
So
very
when someone,
vulnerable. Yeah.
yes, so when someone talks to me, it really is because they need me or someone like me, right? They may not like me particularly, but it's someone like me they need in their lives, because the attorney clearly is not being all they need. So it really comes back to, you should feel confident enough to know what is that you need, and you're able to tell your attorney and not being scared of telling your attorney, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate you have some experience, but she's a financial expert. I need her. I'm going to work with her, because it happens that a lot of them don't. And I had a blog that I wrote. This lady came to me 2 years ago, and the attorney said, you don't need me. And now she came back 2 years later with no money. Money disappeared. The attorney didn't do anything on the financial side because they really couldn't do what I do. And there's not a lot for me to do. And that is devastated to me. And not only from I'm running a business, right? Yes, I'm a business person. I need clients, but this is not about that. This is about women need this help. And the fact that
Mhm.
they are getting bad advice, um, and they're following that bad advice because they don't feel confident enough to make those decisions and bring those people to help them, that breaks my heart, because this is
Mm.
why women are the ones that actually end up in a much worse place financially after a divorce
Yes.
than men. And it's because this lack of confidence to make the decisions. And I know sometimes you need a little bit of, that leap of faith and say, okay, I'm going to hire this person. But again, if you're talking to me, there's a high chance you need me, because you're opening yourself for me to ask you hard questions about your finances that you may not know the answers. So if
Yeah.
you've made it to that point, to me, that means you need me or someone like me, right?
Yes.
You need to work with someone that helps you the answers, and you can get those answers from an attorney. Attorneys do not know financial strategy because that's not what they do. They're legal experts, and they do see finances, but there's so many questions and nuances and new rules that come up all the time. That's not what they are trained on. um, I
Yeah.
almost have this. I work a lot with medical professionals, and it's almost like you go to your family doctor and they said, "Oh, you have something in your skin right here in your face, but don't worry. I've been a doctor for 25 years. You don't need a dermatologist. I'll help you." Will you
Yeah.
do that? Will you say, "Whoa, wait a minute"? Like, that would be weird, right? Like, your doctor is telling you that you don't need to go to, and you have like something. No, I
Yes.
probably will go to the dermatologist. I come back to you, right? Same thing.
Yes.
Same thing.
Absolutely. And I just think that it's because women come from this place of very little confidence with money, that to see somebody who can advise them and help them feel confident with their money situation, I think that is so powerful, even if you're not going through divorce. Even if that's not your situation, I think
Yes.
it's so powerful. And I also just want to comment because I know you're in the States and you're a CDFA in the States, but we do have CDFAs in Canada. So for those of my
Yes.
listeners who are in Canada, we do have the same thing here. So we can meet with somebody like Gabriella who can
Yeah.
advise you on your finances. And you don't even have to be going through divorce to go meet with
You
somebody
don't.
just to understand your situation to get confident about how this could work for you.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
know we're like at the end of our time, but there's a question I always ask my guests, which is what is the best part of getting older for you, Gabriella?
Oh, well, the best thing of getting older is being a grandma. That's the best thing ever happened to me after my kids. But
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, she's the best thing ever. Being a grandma is actually being amazing. But um,
Love it.
as far as getting older, I think is the the ability to know myself, to know what I'm okay with and not okay with, basically creating those boundaries and doing do so, and I'm going to try to say this word. I have a hard problem with this word, unapologetically. I am who I am now, and I know what I want and don't want, and I have boundaries, and I have the respect to say, hey, this is my boundary. You do you. I move here, and being okay with that dynamic that I think for us women is also very hard, right? Because we're always thinking about what somebody else is going to say, so what somebody else is going to do. Maybe I should do this just to make this person feel confident or happy. And it gets to the point like, no, not anymore, which is something that you get when you're older with the experience. I know there's a lot of things like working with a coach or mindfulness or things of that nature you can learn now earlier, right? I didn't have that when I was 20. There was not
Mhm.
so much information out there. I still believe that the information is good, but you still had to go through the experience. You cannot fast forward experience in life. And that's what gets you to this point, and you get it when you're older. And I am absolutely thrilled to be getting into like almost I just turned 50 and I'm walking through my 50s like, yes, I know exactly what I want. I know my boundaries. I know what I stand for. And yes,
Yes.
not everybody's going to continue to walk with me, but whoever it is, I'm so very welcome and I am okay with that. And I think that's the main thing about it.
Yeah, you're unapologetic, and I love that. And the other
Yes.
thing I love is that you could give your granddaughter the same advice that your grandmother gave
Yes.
you. I love it. Could
A
be full
100%.
circle.
Oh, yes, yes, and she doesn't know that that's what I'm saying to her yet, but I'm saying it to her already.
Yes, you
She's
are. I
2.
mean, that
It's just like, yeah, yeah,
it's never too
in her
young to
brain,
gain
yeah.
this confidence around money, right? So, if the women in my audience
Never
want to
too young.
learn more about you and what you do, how can they get in
Yes.
touch with you?
So you can go to my website, www.everafterwealth.com, and there's a blog there. There's videos of all the podcasts, and my podcast is coming out too in a couple of weeks, so that will be available as well, so they can get more information. I'm big on the educational portion of things.
What's the podcast
They
called?
is called Divorce and Money, but it's very interesting because it has love and it has like a crossover red line on it. So it will be very interesting. Yes.
Okay. Divorce and
Because
money.
yeah. And the main thing is like marriage is about love, divorce is about money. That's my tagline, that's really
Mhm.
exactly how it really works. So yeah, so all the information is there. It will be on the website and they can reach out to me directly. My email is Gabriella with 2 L's at everafterwealth.com. My phone number, direct phone number, is also on my website. They can reach out. They
Mhm.
can even schedule a conversation in confidence through my website if they feel more confident to do that. So, and of course, Facebook, Instagram at Ever After Wealth. There's a lot of information there for anyone.
Wonderful, wonderful, and I love that you have a podcast too, so I wish you all the best with your podcast,
Thank you.
and
We'll
thank
have you
you
there,
so, so
Debbie,
much.
because that's so important for people also what you do. So we will definitely have you there. Yes.
All right. Well, I wanna really thank you for being here because this topic, I've never had it on the podcast, and I just think it's so valuable, and we need to talk about money as women. And
Yes.
yeah, I really appreciate
Yeah.
opening this door to a conversation on money that we all need to have.
Yes. And I love the opportunity. So thank you. Yes.